Boys and girls, children of all ages, ladies and gentlemen, things have taken a very interesting twist and a very interesting turn. There's some very nice back and forth going on between Disney Marvel and the creator and showrunner of the very much fan-loved X-Men 97 animated series. It was supposed to be kind of a continuation of the X-Men animated series that we all grew up with as a kid back in the 90s. And honestly, it was one of those situations where when I first started covering this and I first started talking about it, like any other a reboot or remake, I was obviously very, very, very cautious, if not downright very upset and unsure about this entire situation. But the longer I listened to DeMayo and the longer I listened to Beau and listened to him talking about the things he said in the media and about talking to all of the other things, it actually seemed like a guy we would be able to trust with an honest reboot or kind of more of a continuation, which from what I hear is actually exactly what it turned into. Now, I unfortunately did not have, after praising this show, promoting it and telling absolutely everybody that they should go and check this out and that I think this might actually end up being good because of what they did to my boy Morph, which was one of my favorite characters from the X-Men, the animated series. I had a real issue with this show and decided just not to watch it. But that does not mean that many of you have flat out told me that you loved it and adored it. And I think that's only fair for us to talk about this, not only because of my own personal past with reporting on this show and praising DeMayo in many cases because of the kind of things he was saying. And it seemed like it was saying all of the right things about what he was trying to do for this show. Well, as you all are very well aware, not just a couple of months ago, he officially parted ways with Disney Marvel out there. And we all pretty much assumed that he was fired because he was removed from like a lot of the press tours. He didn't get to walk the red carpet when the series premiered. There was a lot of really kind of crazy things going on. Well, he has officially made a statement out there on social media talking about some of this stuff and saying what he believes got him, of course, removed and fired from the company, and he will no longer be running the show in the forward, and has actually now even lost his season 2 credit, which according to him and a lot of other sources out there was completely and totally done and in the can. All of his work on it was finished. And now they're stripping him of that as well. So there's a little bit of back and forth here. We're going to check out this article from The Hollywood Reporter, who, of course, reached out to Marvel for comment after his statement. And then, of course, we're actually going to, instead of going over their particular covering, we're actually going to go to DeMayo's own posts himself to actually go over and see what he had to say about this. And, of course, we've got our dear sweet Cosmic Book News that has been covering this since late in the evening last night when all of this stuff broke Thursday evening and has been doing a great job keeping up with all of that. So we might see if there's any little highlights over there we need to check out. But we are going to check out this out. We're going to go directly to the horse's mouth on his first initial statement over here with our dear sweet DeMayo. And then we're going to go all over there and see what Marvel has back and forth. And we're going to get into the whole situation, break it all down for you, and let you know exactly what is going on here and what everybody is saying. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, because boys and girls, we are grinding, we are growing, we are pumping out content like nobody's business, and we are inching our way closer and closer to 1,200. So please help us on that journey. Hit that follow or subscribe button down there below and leave us a comment in the section down below. Did you love the X-Men 97 series like so many other people out there did, or were you one of those ones that avoided it because of certain obvious reasons, i.e. Disney? Let us know what you think about all of that down below. And also, at the end of this video, if you're still around there, let us know another comment about what you think. Who do you think is in the right? Who do you think is in the wrong? Do you think anybody's in the right? Do you think anybody's in the wrong? What do you think of this entire situation going forward? So let's check this out. So I have to apologize a little bit beforehand, and I'm going to give you a slight warning if you're not big into like a lot of the kind of more the way the LGBT pride stuff is done and the way it's advertised. I'm giving you a fair trigger eye warning right now. I'll try to leave it on the screen for a little bit of time right now. But boys and girls, shield your eyes if there's small children in the room, because our dear sweet Beau DeMayo over here posts this out here, and this is what started it all. This is what he started last night. This is what started Thursday. This is what kicked all of this off and all of this kind of hoopla and everything else that's going on. So DeMayo posts out there on Twitter. He says on X, he says, firstly, I am so grateful that I've worked on X-Men 97, collaborating with some amazingly talented folks. Creating this revival was a dream come true, and the support fans have showed is so touching. However, I felt it is pressing for me to speak up in the wake of leaving the show. Now, obviously, you can see this. You can see this is a post from his Instagram. This is a Happy Pride Day post. Now, obviously, if you weren't aware, Beau DeMayo is a homosexual man, which, whatever. I don't really care where you stick your dick as long as you're not trying to influence kids and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I don't really care. It's your business. You're an adult. Do whatever you want. At the end of the same time, that being set aside, this is a guy that, like I said, I was promoting to a certain degree. I was saying this all looks good. He is saying all of the right things. And it turns out I was right. Now, this is the post that he made, right? This is the post he put on Instagram, and this is the explanation for it. It says, above is an X-Men fan art I posted on Instagram for Gay Pride in June. On June 13th, Marvel sent a letter notifying me that they'd stripped my season 2 credits due to the post. Sadly, this is the latest in a troubling pattern I suffered through while working on X-Men 97 and Blade. Now, I did not recall that DeMayo was involved with Blade, but apparently he was as well. And honestly, considering his work on X-Men 97 and how much everybody's absolutely loved it, he probably would have been a good fit for Blade too. One of the things that got me excited about DeMayo when I first initially heard that he was helming this and that he was going to be in charge of it and this was going to be his creative baby was he went out there in interviews and said flat out, I reached out to the original creators. I talked to them. I had conversations with them. I had very long conversations with them about what I loved about the show, what their vision was, what their inspiration was for, and that I was going to try to stay as true to that vision and that source material as possible. And that was something that we were not hearing out of anyone at Marvel at the time. It was literally a completely and totally breath of fresh air after all of the dysentery and disgusting nonsense we had been dealing with over the last few years. And it turns out, it looks like, fortunately for once, Common Nerd's hopes weren't squashed and you all loved this. And apparently he loved working on it too. So DeMayo finishes off this post that kicked everything off, says, I'll have more to say soon, but must take a step back from social media to find a safer place for me to be out, proud, and nerdy. Stay tuned. Now, full disclaimer, I retweeted this on X. I reposted this on X, right? The new algorithm is getting used to it. I reposted this on X, and I flat out said, I'm a smaller channel, but I've promoted you in the past. I actually was encouraged by what you were saying, and I would love to sit down and have this conversation with you. Do I think I have any chance in hell of actually talking to him? Probably not. But at the end of the day, I just want to give you a full disclaimer that I did try to reach out to this guy. I would love to sit down and have a conversation with him, a blatant conversation where he can say whatever he wants. I don't care, and we will let him speak his truth. I hate that phrase, but there's always 3 sides to every story, right? Their story, my story, and the truth, right? And you listen to both and you end up finding something in the middle, which is what we're kind of trying to do today. So of course, Disney shot back, right? So Marvel's fired back over X-Men 97 creators' claim he was stripped of season 2 credit, cites erroneous investigation findings. Now, this was exclusive to Hollywood Reporter. Obviously, a lot of other people have been reporting on this, but at the end of the day, I like trying to go to the source, the horse's mouth, as much as I possibly can. So 5 months after Marvel Studios fired X-Men 97 creator Beau DeMayo for mysterious reasons, the writer claimed Thursday he would no longer get credit on the second season of the hit Disney Plus show, which we already talked about all of that. Marvel shot back soon after, and in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter, gave insight into his firings, saying it occurred after an internal investigation revealed erroneous findings. Above is X-Men fan art number 1. This is obviously what he talked about, all of his stuff. We just went over his tweet and all of that kind of stuff. So, right here. So Marvel responded that saying DeMayo's behavior was the cause of his firing and for him losing his credits. Right? Now they're saying the cause of his firings. His actions are the cause of his firings, right? So Mr. DeMayo was terminated in March 2024 following an internal investigation. Now, this is all the way back in March, right? And this is the rumor that we'd heard about that. So this confirms that, yes, this goes all the way back to March 2024 with the rumors we heard about him getting fired and getting removed from this before it even launched. So it said, following internal investigation. Given the erroneous nature of the findings, we severed ties with him immediately, and he has no further affiliation with Marvel. Now, that's all the details they go into, right? But now they've got inside sources. There are people at the company that are like, ooh, well, we're not going to make it, we can't officially speak on it. So this is essentially like their inside sources, right? Just like we use WW Pro sources and stuff like that. So this is the Hollywood Reporter's inside sources saying this, right? No confirmation, no legitimacy, which is one of the reasons why I want to talk to Beau and I want to actually have a conversation with him over this. So sources said that following his X-Men, agreement was reached, and this, like I said, sources say, this is not the statement that was given to the Hollywood Reporter, this is sources. An agreement was reached between the two parties over the issue of tweeting about the show, something that DeMayo had continued to occasionally do in light of the breaches. His credit for season 2 was removed. While no details of the cause of the termination or internal reviews have surfaced, sources say it involved sexual misconduct. misconduct. Now, what that actually means, what that defines, I mean, honestly, there's probably some people out there that could easily argue that just posting this on Instagram would be sexual misconduct based on like their rights and causes and stuff like that. But that wouldn't make any sense now, would it? Because of all of the agenda stuff that Disney has been promoting. Honestly, the fact that they even fired a black homosexual male absolutely boggled all of our minds at the time. So it had to be something crazy, although at the exact same time, when you factor that in, that back in March, Kevin, the rumor that we'd heard from WW Pro from that Chris Gore, that Feige had gotten rid of all of the activist, quote unquote, woke producers back in March. They'd fired all of them. So is DeMayo a consequence of that, even though he produced something that fans absolutely loved because he was an active activist for an LGBTQ plus mafia? I don't know. But all of these timelines are sure seeming to sync up. So it seems like the one guy that might not have been deserving of getting the house cleaning in the woke cleaning that Feige did, well, actually might have been DeMayo. And we don't know, though. We'll never truly know unless he comes out and talks about all of this in detail. So DeMayo did not immediately return a request for comment. But he did post on social media. We can go through all of the back of it, talking about strip DeMayo of his credit. On the surface, then this is one of the things that even the Hollywood Reporter points out. On the surface, the notion that Marvel would strip DeMayo of a credit due to social media posts would stretch credibility, as in maybe you shouldn't necessarily believe our sources. As outside observers note that the gay pride illustration is similar to any number of posts he made while employed at Marvel. And fired Marvel executive Victoria Alonso retained credit on her project she previously worked on following her exit in 2023. But the reveal of an internal graduation points to deeper causes. Despite the bad press, yada, 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 we all talk about all of that. But after initially writing this article, DeMayo puts out another statement. Beau says, the truth will be revealed. After their Disney Plus disaster, Marvel wants to mislead with alleged contract breaches over tweets. It's tragic it's come to this, but not unsurprising. Stay tuned. And that's the last statement we've got from him. We could go on and finish the rest of this article, but there's really not anything else to that. That's basically where the story stands at this point. We've got a back and forth between Marvel. We've got some inside sources that might not be all that credible, but we've got DeMayo coming out here and making a statement, which makes me wonder, what's the case of this? What's really the truth here? Because we've heard all these kind of rumors, and there are a bunch of unsubstantiated rumors that I saw on social media and everything else talking about all these crazy things, and I'm not going to delve into them because they don't come from reliable sources. These are people that are just randos on the internet as far as I know. But this is from the horse's mouth. And apparently the Hollywood Reporter from the horse's mouth as well with the official Marvel statement. The real question is, what happened? I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is I can look at the fruits of someone's labor and generally tell what kind of tree that is. Whether DeMayo's a degenerate as far as anybody out there is concerned, not a clue. No idea. It's up to you to decide that and get that straight with you and your God. You know what I mean? I leave God's judgment up to him as far as this kind of stuff's concerned. You know, we all know we can get into the religious arguments, and I don't think that matters. That's not what this video is for. But at the end of the day, DeMayo produced something good that the fans loved. The fans absolutely rejoiced in. Something that none of us, the majority of us, did not expect to be good. So that's the question. Did DeMayo actually get caught up in Feige's purge of woke activists, maybe by accident, because maybe Feige didn't know what the result of what DeMayo's stuff was? He just saw his social media posts. He saw what he had in the background and all of this other kind of stuff and was like, look, dude, these activist people ain't working. Everything they failed's flopped. We haven't even seen your X-Men 97 yet. But it's probably going to flop too. So we're just going to go ahead and get rid of you now. Because we're getting rid of everybody right now. I don't know if that's true or not. That would make the most sense to me. But at the end of the day, this is crazy. This is a wild story. There's constantly, supposedly, according to Mayo, there's going to be more. But either way, he gave us something great. And maybe, just maybe, he actually did get fucked over by Disney. And completely and totally for not his fault at all. Because he actually did produce good products and didn't decide to shove his agenda down the throat of everybody that loves X-Men. And for that, I'll give you credit, Beau. You made the fans happy. And for that, we will always be grateful. Sorry to hear about Disney Marvel, but you know what? Maybe it's moving on to better things out there, sir. Good luck and Godspeed. Thanks for watching.